This is the third problem in the 2-2D lesson. It says that Miss Irving and Miss Holt need babysitters Friday night to attend Wicked at the San Diego Civic Center. When it comes to paying their babysitters, each mom pays differently. All right, so we have Irving and Holt in the table, and I'm actually going to go back in time and figure out, well, how much do I think 0 hours costs? So for Holt, I noticed that every time my hoops or my rate of change or my rise is +9. So that means that Irving doesn't charge anything as a flat fee. The Irving example is proportional. All right, let's figure out for Holt. And by the way, the run is just +1. Every time this one is going up by +8. So that means that if I go back in time, Holt actually starts with $4. All right, so let's fill in now some of these questions. A says the table represents how much money each mom pays their babysitters. Examine the table and describe the differences you see. So we could say a variety of things. You can choose your own. I'm going to say Irving has a rate of change of $9. It's $9 per hour. Holt has a rate of change of 8. It's $8 per hour. Let's also put that Holt is charged an initial $4 fee. That there's a flat fee, a starting amount. All right, so we hit the key things. We could even, I'm not going to put it, but we could put that Irving is proportional. All right. I'm going to let you graph this, just fair warning that the lines do get really, really close. So label them, do the best you can, and pick easy points to graph it. All right. Let's talk about, let's talk about the slope for Irving. So Irving was, the slope was 9, or the rate of change is 9. So we'll say Irving is charged $9 per hour. So that's what it represents in the context. All right, Holt, we already said that, so I'll let you write that down. It's up at the top under A. We actually included it in one of the key differences we saw. In fact, it was one of the first things we found. We're always looking for stage 0 in the hoops. E, what does the slope tell you about these two situations? So Irving is charged more per hour. Holt is charged less per hour. Make sure we have this correct. So Irving is more. Let's make sure we have, there it is. Yep, Irving was charged more and Holt is less. And we're actually, you're going to graph this, but let's try to predict what this graph is going to look like. The Irving line should be, what do we think, more or less steep? Irving was charged more, should be steeper, should be more steep than the Holt one. They're going to be pretty close though. Whoops. All right. Y-intercept for Irving was 0, 0. Irving is charged $0 for 0 hours, right? There's no initial amount. You can fill in the y-intercept for Holt. In fact, if you're not sure what it is, in just a second, you could also look at our equations. Remember, don't forget to graph, and we'll also look at I. So Irving was the proportional one. That means our equation is going to look like this. If you look at your green graphic organizer, and the rate of change for this one was 9. It was the more expensive one per hour. And Holt equation is going to look like this. Think block patterns where there is a stage 0. And that's because there is a flat fee of $4 and a hourly rate or rate of change of 8. All right, and so there's that hint. The y-intercept for Holt was 0, 4. Let's make sure also, I'm going to go back up to the top. Okay, we do have that right. Holt was initial of $4 and $8 per hour. All right, and then we're going to describe is one situation better than the other. In fact, let's look up at the top and even look at our table. You could also look at your graph. So if it's only going to take an hour to go to Wicked for some reason or to hire a babysitter, I might choose the Irving option because it only costs me $9 versus $12. But if I'm going to go for a long time, it looks like it might benefit me to go with Holt, which has a less cost per hour. So we'll say something like that. So for less hours, I'm going to choose Irving. Holt's going to be cheaper. Okay. We did skip a couple things. Make sure that you do all the parts. You're going to make a graph. It is, again, it's going to be a little tricky estimate. We should get a line, 2 lines that are going to be quite close. Make sure you don't forget to fill in the y-intercept for Holt. We did mention what that was. You're going to state the slope for Holt as well. Explain what it means. And also don't forget to label the axes on this graph.